Hello everyone, welcome back to the Away Say on the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel. We're looking ahead to the Brighton game this weekend. This week joined by Adi from the Albion Roar. Thanks for coming on.
Hello mate, how you doing? All right?
Really well, thanks mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Enjoying the sunshine out here on the beach. And,
Yeah, it looks lovely down south, yeah.
It's great. It's great. Why, is it grim up north?
Well, apparently it always is. It's actually been all right today, so you never know. Brighton, we're obviously, you guys are coming up north this time around.
Yes.
Would you say it's a new look Brighton this season? You've obviously spent a bit of cash, Trossard, Maupay, Webster, and you've changed the manager around as well. Is this a different Brighton that we're going to see this season?
Yourselves will be very, very familiar with the style of football that Chris Hughton likes to play. And you know, we're massive fans of Chris. But I think the time was right for a change, and Graham Potter's come in. He's rung the changes, not necessarily personnel-wise, but certainly with the style of play. But it is still largely the same personnel that narrowly avoided relegation last year, but actually playing to a better system that actually suits them. To the person that Chris was allowed to sign a certain amount of players, and he probably didn't bed them in as much as he possibly could have done. He certainly didn't get as much out of them as he possibly could have done. And now some of those have gone out on loan as well, which is even worse. But we've had the new signings come in. Maupay's looking great. Trossard's looking brilliant, although I suspect he's going to be out for this weekend because he picked up an injury on international duty, which we all love. It's certainly a more exciting, it's certainly more open. It is a kind of team that's likely to win 4-3 than to sneak a 1-0 win, if you know what I mean. But it's a work in progress, but we're quite happy with it how it is so far. But we have had the last few games at home. We've only got 2 points out of, and we certainly should have had at least 6 out of the 9.
Yeah, I spoke to a Norwich fan earlier in the season, and he called me a Hughton apologist for giving him any sort of praise. So obviously they really don't rate him. But were you surprised that he left?
I was asked a question on national radio about will Chris Hughton be there in August, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if he was, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't. Yeah. Which is probably me sitting on the fence a little bit. But it was, at the end of the day, he was doing a great job. But from January onwards, the tide kind of turned against him a little bit. We only got 3 wins from January onwards, and we ended up with, we're going into January, we're looking comfortable, we're pushing for 10th. And then something happened. We don't know what it was, but something happened. Maybe it's something behind the scenes. Maybe the players just didn't like the system, or whatever it was. But it left us looking over our shoulders very much so. And anyway, we ended up with 36 points, and that usually isn't enough to keep you up. So yeah, no, I wasn't surprised to see him go at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think that there's often a lot goes on behind the scenes these days, isn't there, with player power.
Yeah, I know. And you've also got to look at I mentioned earlier the fact the chairman spent a lot of money. And when you're playing, you yourselves know that with your chairman who doesn't like to put his hand in his pocket. But 16, 17 million quid, it's a lot of money for us to spend. You want to see some sort of return on that investment. These players weren't necessarily being given the opportunity to shine in their right positions. It's all very well like signing a striker who knows where the goal is, but if you're asking him to defend for like 90% of the match, he's not going to get many goals for you, is he?
No, and it is difficult, and I think whenever I've seen Brighton make signings, I never remember who they are the season after, and I think that says a lot about the recruitment you've had. And I was actually surprised that you released, I think you put Knockout out on loan as well. And I think that was just a sign of
that wasn't so much of a surprise, really. I mean, he's a player that is very much loved here, but he was Hughton's player. I think he was with the personal problems that Anthony had with his father and battling depression and things like that. He was very, very, very close to Chris, and I think that when Chris went, I think he felt he was
He would have been a
stagnating
bit
a little
lost
bit
there.
anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, he wasn't with signed Trossard. Was he going to get the game time that he wanted? You know, I mean, you know what? We would have been absolutely delighted if he was still here. But you know, he's earned a lot of credit. He's got credit in the bank with us, and you know, I think maybe the silly red cards he got last year was the final curtain for him.
Yeah, he put in a horror tackle, didn't he? I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up losing the game heavily because of it. But
Yeah.
you know,
yeah. So you've said that obviously it's a bit of a new look Brighton side. What would you say your main strengths are now? It's obviously you're not going to be playing the Chris Hughton way anymore. You're going to be a bit more expansive.
no, I mean we're still learning what it is actually. To be honest,
Yeah.
we don't know what
Yeah,
possible
we're
is.
kind of the same, to be honest with you. We don't really know.
I mean we're playing free at the back now. We're not so reliant on Duncan Duffy blocking everything. There's more progression through the midfield. We're seeing Davy Prepper being the player that actually plays for Holland rather than the one that plays for us. We're seeing the best of Dale Stephens. We've got a lot of players on the bench who are itching. Aaron Moy was a decent acquisition, but we haven't seen anything of him so far. Trossard, again, he's been playing everywhere, and we're actually seeing Pascal Gross being a menace again, and he's a threat basically. And you know, but Glenn still hasn't got quite going yet, but Morpie's got a couple of goals. He's looking hungry. We've got a young kid called Aaron Connolly who, with any luck, if he's given the opportunity to shine, he could set this league on fire.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult when you get a new manager and new players in. We're in a similar position where obviously we lost Rafa and we got a new manager and we literally had no idea how it was going to go. And we've actually looked all right. We haven't looked horrible. We managed to go away and beat Spurs. We didn't get absolutely destroyed by Liverpool. We had a shocker against Norwich, but on the whole, we've looked sort of okay. If you were going to set up this Newcastle, well, I think with Steve Bruce, okay is probably best case scenario we could have hoped for. So I don't think we can really complain too much. Were you surprised by that yourself, the Steve Bruce thing? A lot of people were.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, we've gone down. I mean, what we've done is gone down a different route. We've actually given a young English manager an opportunity to manage at the top level, which is actually two clubs have done. But I don't suppose you can really count Chelsea with Frank Lampard doing the same thing. But you know, it was we're given an opportunity to a young up and coming manager to manage at the top level, and you know he's earned the opportunity to do so. More if it's a success, hopefully we'll see more clubs being progressive and actually trying to go down that route rather than bringing in the dinosaurs like Allardyce and Bruce and and Pardew.
We'll have to censor that
sorry
word.
for swearing. Sorry for swearing.
Yeah, don't worry. It's a family show. Yeah, we were surprised, but like I've said in previous things, previous videos and things, no one could ever replace him. We could have appointed the greatest manager in world football, and there still would have been fans pissed off with it. So, yeah, and to be fair, Bruce is going to be better than Pardew. So you put a bit of context on it there. If you were going to set up a Newcastle team to try and beat Brighton, where do you think the weaknesses are? Or I guess the answer might be you don't know still at this stage.
Honestly, well, no. Well, basically, it was with Chris. It was we were going to be resilient, and you know, we're going to restrict the chances with under the current setup. If you attack us, you're leaving yourself open to the speed we've got on the wing. So it's we've conceded more, and most of the goals have been from open play this year, which is unusual. Most of them have been previously under Chris Hughton's side. You normally concede some from a set piece or corners or whatever, but it's most of the goals have come from open play. So that's a worry. But we've been creating a lot of chances which have not been taken. So if you can get your noses in front, there's a possibility that we may still be fluffing our lines in front of goal. So I'm not expecting a thriller. Let's put it that way.
No,
Well,
I mean,
we're just still really annoyed that it's the 5:30 kickoff, because if you were to get the train from Brighton to this game, and you know what this is like, because it's like obviously it's the furthest you've got to travel as well, I think. It certainly is for us. To leave, if you got a train at 8 o'clock from Newcastle, do you know what time you get back to Brighton?
You don't.
11 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? I mean, we've spoken about this before with Monday night games as well, where we always seem to get picked out for it, and they just don't care. And it's like you're saying, with young English managers and things coming through, maybe that'll be the start of a bit of a football revolution, and it's going to be less about the foreign influence and the money and things. We just don't really know, do we? But yeah, like you say, with Sky and the TV companies, we've had this discussion for the past 10-15 years. Newcastle fans seem to always get royally shafted when it comes to TV, where there's literally no trains whatsoever to get back from a game. Always going to be a problem. Just sort of last thing, really. We both got one win. They were both away from home. Obviously, in the Championship, we were mega close to each other. Do you think by come the end of the season, we'll be close together still? Based on what you've seen so far.
So far, I do worry for you. I think you've got, with Joe Ellington's a decent signing. I think Almiron's exciting, but whether you can get the most out of them, I don't know. I think the players that we've got will make a big difference, and I think that we're certainly looking for our highest ever position, which is 13th and above. Yourselves, let's put it this way. If you're above us, we'd be very worried.
Yeah, I think we're probably two clubs in a similar position, really, where we've both made signings and we both don't really know how they're going to play yet. I think that's similar for us with Joe Linton and Almiron. It's kind of like, if they do start firing, we're going to be a force against lots of teams. But if they don't, then we're going to struggle. I know that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but it is true, really. Looking at the match itself, I think last time I spoke to you, didn't like giving a prediction. But have you got any idea this time?
There will be. It'll be on the video printer, and unfortunately, Alexander Gordon is no longer alive to go Newcastle 0, Brighton Hove Albion 0. But yeah, I'm not expecting a thriller, but we're hoping for at least a point.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, we'll be expecting to win it being at home and doing all right the sort of second half of the start of the season. So I think we'll be hoping for a win.
If we score early, we win. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think based on what you said before about us going in front early potentially, I think, first goal might be really crucial in this one. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. Really crap game, last match of the day. And I think you're just home for a point. I think that's probably fair enough. Right, that about wraps it up. I know you've got things to be doing, so I appreciate you coming on short notes. Thanks very much, and best of luck for the weekend.
All right, cheers, Andy. Thanks,
mate. Thank you.